The Marcellus Shale has really been a godsend. We've calculated that about 1.75 million jobs have been generated just from shale development in this country.
We believe that we have a successful business model. We're well funded. We're going to continue to expand. There hasn't been one bad well, and we fully expect for this region to be fully developed and to fully exploit this opportunity that we all have.
Well, the impact of the Marcellus could be a real game changer across several dimensions. First of all, supplying cheaper energy to manufacturing operations, developing new industries such as petrochemicals that we haven't seen in this area in a long time. Also, lower energy costs from lower utility costs.
Beyond all of the construction jobs and beyond the additional jobs to run the facility, I think directionally it's going to revitalize the U.S. petrochemical industry.
When we see the increased supplies in the United States of natural gas and the increased supplies that are derived from the Marcellus Shale that are heavy in natural gas liquids, this is just a treasure for the chemical industry.
When you think about what the chemical industry alone, the different industries that it feeds into, it is going to have an impact throughout the economy and throughout the country. Not just chemicals, though. The steel industry, other energy-intensive industries that are going to see West Virginia as an attractive place to be will then be feeding the rest of the economy as well.
I think West Virginia has a lot going for it. I mean, it's got the history with the petrochemical sector. It certainly has the resource base with the Marcellus Shale itself. And it also has very, very competitive electricity rates because of its prominent use of coal.
I think the impact is already being felt. But as we look to the future, I don't think there's any question we're going to see a huge upsurge in manufacturing in West Virginia and throughout the Marcellus.
We're always looking for a workforce, a trained workforce, and a workforce that has a work ethic associated with it. We find that here, we just need more of it.
The high schools, as well as the vocational, the community colleges, the universities, there has to be a collective effort to be working with the private sector to fully understand what are those skills that need to be developed, how do we develop the curriculum and the programs that can ensure that we have a qualified workforce that is going to be needed to capitalize on the Marcellus Shale.
Well, first of all, we need to really mobilize a lot of our institutions, such as community colleges, to be able to produce folks who can walk into the industry and make immediate contributions.
You don't have to be a chemical engineer. You don't need an MIT diploma. Anyone who could be a good mechanic, anyone who could be a good tradesman or craftsman certainly could be trained to operate our plants.
We are also seeing, with the issues that the coal industry is having, some folks coming from the mining industry getting some retraining and coming back into the oil and gas business. So we think that's very positive for the area as well.
I think the other thing it really helps to provide for West Virginia and for the entire region is that not only will you have jobs and opportunity for kids as they're coming up into the workforce, you've got a reason for them to stay and to stay for generations.
Well, I think West Virginia is well positioned, not only because Marcellus Shale lies within their borders, but it also, West Virginia has a fairly significant infrastructure advantage in terms of rail transportation, also has river and barge transportation, which are very important to manufacturing and chemical manufacturing in particular.
You've got a governor, a state legislature, both parties that have really embraced the opportunity, but at the same time made sure that they put in place regulatory structures and the legislation necessary to ensure that, as the industry must also prove that we can come in here and do this safely and responsibly and work cooperatively with the local communities, with the state government.
Well, I think that West Virginia has a long history of being focused on things that are consistent with the types of environment we need for oil and gas development. So far what I see is rational policies that have been in place for a while.
We're always looking for a fair tax environment, which we believe we have here.
My hat's off to the work that's been done at the local government, the state government, as well as your leaders in Congress that are really trying to develop those public-private partnerships and are enhancing the communication so that collectively we can move forward providing those economic opportunities that will benefit all the citizens of West Virginia.
You've got a governor and a legislature that, as they say, that they've got a state that's open for business, and I think they're making good on that as well.
The environment that exists in West Virginia is certainly one of the better ones throughout the country. As it relates to how business works with government, I think one of the things that certainly the Department of Commerce focuses on, and you can probably never do too much of, is making sure that people outside of the state and outside of the country understand how great a place West Virginia is to do business.